Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and this is the newly updated 2024 Genesis G70 Sports Sedan, the newly crowned vehicle of Texas thanks to the Texas Auto Writers Association. This is a personal favorite of mine. It is their smallest, most affordable, but most fun to drive vehicle in the entire Genesis lineup. But are there some dark clouds looming in those sunny skies? Is this vehicle marked for deletion? Stay tuned. Just like with the GV70, I couldn't very well start this review sitting still now, could I? As much as I loved that vehicle, I love this one more. Yes, that is no joke. This is, without a doubt, my favorite Genesis product, hard stop. I like the others, don't get me wrong. The GV60 is fun with its boost mode. The GV70 was fun with its everyday practicality, SUV shape, all-wheel drive, touring tires, and the like. GV80 just steps that up a notch. The G80 was a nice cruiser for my birthday a couple of years ago, and the G90 definitely makes a nice statement when rolling down the road. But when you turn this thing to Sport Plus, step on the brake, step on the gas, and dump that brake, this thing scoots and moves, and it is so much fun. This is a blast to drive. And the biggest telltale sign that this has a different mission than that GV70, well, that goes down to wheels, tires, and brakes. These are 19-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4 summer performance tires. Very excited about that. It does tell you the overall intent of the vehicle from the manufacturers when you get a performance tire wrapped around the wheels. These are 265/35 ZR19 Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. And yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. That red brake caliper that is Genesis branded is actually a Brembo brake. Standard Brembo brakes on this vehicle, which is a very nice performance touch, as well as a nice visual touch behind those uniquely designed wheels. And yes, wheels, tires, and brakes are great, but what powers this thing is a very, very strong, very potent, very capable, and very good sounding 3.3 liter twin turbo V6. Getting up underneath the hood of the Genesis G70, it is powered by a slightly different powertrain than what we saw in the GV70, which, as its name implies, is the SUV variant of this platform. Yes, not using the larger 3.5 liter, this employs a 3.3 liter twin turbo V6 powering the rear wheels, though you can get optional all-wheel drive on this model, but why would you? And yes, you can see it is properly mounted for that rear drive duty. Slightly less power, slightly less torque, 365 horsepower, 376 pound-feet of torque, but it's carrying less weight. And as I mentioned, this is the rear drive variant, so that means you have a little bit more fun, but you can opt for all-wheel drive on this vehicle as well. It routes power to those rear wheels via an 8-speed automatic. Very excellent transmission, and all the Genesis products that I've sampled it with really like that. And then we've got some extra rigidity up here with some strut tower braces, helping keep this thing stiff and firm and planted on the road. I will note this does have the old school latch system, unlike what we saw on the GV80, 70, and all the other products. So, you know, slight complaints. Moving this thing down the road, this being the Sport Prestige, we get adaptive suspension in this one with MacPherson Strut front and multi-link rear connections. And just like with the GV70, it makes driving down my favorite driving road, backcountry road here in East Texas, a blast. Everything I loved about the GV70 is just amplified here in the G70 thanks to its lower center of gravity and lower rolling mass than its SUV counterpart. Even though, yes, we pay a slight penalty on the power numbers, and we do get the benefit of just rear-wheel drive in this one, which makes the overall driving character that much more fun, in my opinion. You can get all-wheel drive if you need it, but I don't. It's practically summer year-round here, so I really appreciate the fact that you can get a rear drive only variant of this. And to be fair, this has Sport and Sport Plus. Sport Plus turns off traction control, which it did also in the GV70, but the difference there is the GV70 had all-wheel drive to help bring the front of the vehicle more in line with the back of the vehicle if it sensed wheel slip. This, you have no safety net. And if you've followed me and listened to my podcast for any length of time, you know that I've got a little PTSD from an incident where my brother was driving a rear-wheel drive sports car, and yes, we slid into oncoming traffic, back across traffic, and into a tree. So I have a healthy respect of the nearly 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, sending only to the back tires of this particular vehicle, and I use Sport Plus sparingly in this one. Yeah, buddy, let's go! That being said, Sport and Sport Plus both tune up that adaptive exhaust note back there and adjust my side bolsters here to hug me just a little bit more tightly when it comes to, you know, having some driving fun. All right, Sport Plus, traction control off, launch control ready, let's go! Oh my goodness, this thing just rips all the way to triple digits! It also changes the throttle mapping of this. You can be driving in comfort mode, just powering down the road, not moving your foot or the throttle input at all. Switch this over to Sport Plus, and you will start accelerating. The other drive modes, Eco, Custom, and the like, they're all good too. I've used them all. Again, I've put over 600 miles on this vehicle. I've road tripped it to Austin, Texas and back. It has been a blast in every single situation. Traffic, stop and go, wide open roads, whatever the case may be, curvy East Texas back roads like this with imperfections. It's good in all of them. It puts a smile on my face no matter the condition. I could be sitting in traffic and it's still fun. And it's just good all the way around. Again, it puts a smile on my face. It is well deserved. And like I said, putting a smile on my face, I'm not the only one. This just racked up the awards at the Texas Auto Writers Texas Auto Roundup, including top honors as the Vehicle of Texas for 2024. So I am not alone in my love and adoration of this vehicle. Other Texas-based journalists absolutely agree with me. This thing is a great value. It won Best Exterior, Best Interior, Best Personal or Highest Personal Appeal, all of which absolutely apply to me as well. I love this thing. Traction control will step in to save you if it senses it needs it, as long as you are in Sport or any other drive mode. Sport Plus takes away that safety net. Yeah, buddy, this thing is so much fun to drive. The twisty road sign means fun times ahead with this vehicle. It is designed for roads like this. Unfortunately, while I had this at a track, it was not cleared for track duty at that particular event, which is the biggest travesty of travesties, because I absolutely think this would dominate on the track. Nearly 400 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. The steering on this is so precise and good. Those Brembo brakes stop you when you want them to. They grip, they bite, and they're fade free. Even if there are deer on the side of the road that you just want to keep an eye out for. Yeah, this thing, it helps inspire confidence in the driver no matter the road conditions around you. This thing is so good, and I can't imagine wanting to get the all-wheel drive version of this. Rear drive just makes it so much more fun and engaging, and this is coming from somebody who had a Camaro SS with a 6-speed manual. Would I like a manual transmission? Yeah. I haven't even used the 8-speed of flappy paddles on the back of this one, because everything else is just so good. The transmission does what I want it to, when I want it to. Imagine that. Like, it works. It gives me power. It's never like hunting. I don't need the flappy paddles on this one, though it is absolutely something I could use if I needed it, if I felt it deserved it, if I felt the situation called for it. But I haven't. This thing just works in all conditions. The turning is so good. The handling is so good. That adaptive suspension is so good in all situations. This is anything but a perfect road surface, and bumps don't send me flying and bumping and losing control, even with rear drive in this one. It is just planted in all situations. I love this thing. I love these roads. This vehicle is made for conditions just like this, and it pulls and pulls. This thing absolutely flies, and then those Brembo brakes are there to back you up when maybe you want to come back down for a landing. Yes, Genesis, more of this, please. Now you may be wondering, how does this rival its German competition? And well, unfortunately, BMW is yet to send me a press vehicle. Hit subscribe to help, fuel that conversation that is ever and ongoing with BMW. But as far as its Mercedes equivalent, first of all, this undercuts its German competition in price. This thing, fully loaded as it is, doesn't even crest $60,000. The final price of this one is the starting price of that top spec GV70 that we drove last week. So even within the Genesis lineup, this thing is a bargain, but against its German competitors, it too is a bargain. My neighbor has a BMW 330i, and I have lived with his experience vicariously through him, and I can say I would expect overall cost of ownership to be much less with this vehicle versus its German rivals too. So overall, this really is a good bargain, and if you couldn't tell from my smiles, my grins, and my overall demeanor in this video, I love this vehicle. I would absolutely have this over its main two German rivals from BMW and Mercedes-Benz. All this brings me to a more somber note. I alluded to it in the intro. Is this vehicle marked for deletion? Since its introduction to the world as a 2017 model, it has seen some pretty heavy updates. For 2024, we saw some minor updates, but they were obviously good enough to win top honors with Texas Auto Riders and my peers at the organization. This is still a very good vehicle, but it is still a sedan in a market where, well, we're kind of SUV hungry. So does that mean that this sedan is going away? Well, if you believe the rumors, the stories from our friends over at Korean car blogs, yes, they firmly believe that this is going away sooner rather than later. But I reached out to my friends at Genesis, and they confirmed that Genesis is still committed to building fun, engaging vehicles that appeal to their consumers. So rest assured that Genesis still wants to build fun cars. This is an absolute must for the brand that is trying to establish itself as a legitimate rival to the longtime stalwarts from Germany in BMW and Mercedes-Benz. This vehicle is a must-win for the brand, and it is doing just that. It is winning. It is taking home the trophies, and for that, I applaud the brand. The fact that the parent company Hyundai is committed to sedans with the Sonata refresh, with the Kia K5 refresh, still lends even more credibility to the fact that Genesis doesn't have plans of getting rid of this vehicle anytime soon. Yeah, let's go. Every time, the smile, like just, Genesis, my love, you've done it again. Look, is this vehicle perfect? No, there are some clear flaws and minor details that just kind of aggravate me. Unfortunately for this vehicle, at least, this is just a little loose. Yes, I've got a few squeaks and rattles in this one. I'm not going to call that a parvati blank because it's really not a button. It's just finishing out the design. Storage is not particularly a strong suit of this vehicle. Yes, back space is a little bit cramped. No, we do not get sunshades in the back window. Yes, 3 people in the back seat is going to be a tough fit. You can see we don't have typical Genesis UI in here. This is a little toned down. It is the least Genesis-like Genesis when it comes to luxury things, which is not a bad thing. This is the top trim, and we don't get the fully digital gauge cluster, which I'm not sad about. We still get a very nice, very classy analog fuel and speedometer gauges over here that are always present. And then we get an 8-inch screen over here with all your driver information system stuff here in the middle, and then a reverse revving tachometer right here. That is a touch, a Bentley-esque touch, just showing the upscale nature of this. And look at the numbers as we go around them. So that's really cool. That tachometer also serves as the display spot for the blind spot cameras when you put your blinkers on. So this still does have that. As we look up, we do still get a head-up display, but it is the smallest head-up display that I have seen in any of the brand's products. Slightly different layout. It's good. I'm not complaining. The one small, just itty-bitty nitpick that I have on it is it does not permanently display what you have your speed set to if you're using cruise control. It is always permanently displayed down in the screen here, but it is not always permanently displayed up here when cruise control is active. Just interesting. It does show it every once in a while, like when you change it, but it is not a permanent thing. Smallest infotainment screen in any of the top Genesis products. It's 10.25 inch. Again, not a bad thing. It's really easy to reach. It's really quick and really snappy. So I've got no complaints there. Small complaint. No wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You had to use a USB-A cord, which you plug in right here. You do get some additional power points up here. Qi wireless charger right here. And you do get some USB-Cs in here. You get one there and a couple on the back of the center console for the back seats. This panel right here, biggest telltale sign that you're in a 2024 if you're sitting in it. The 23s and prior had 3 physical dials here for your HVAC controls, your dual zone HVAC controls. That's been replaced with this haptic touch section here. We still get physical buttons for these items on the side, but you get haptic touch for your heated and ventilated front seats and your fan speed controls. Still get physical dials here with low cutouts. Not quite sure what that's for on the dials here. You also still get dials for volume and tuning, though I can tell you, and you can kind of see here, there's not a lot of contrast between the words here and the metallic design element back here. So it is very hard for me to see what any of these buttons do in this current condition with my sunglasses on. It's even kind of hard to see without them on. So that is a slight complaint of mine. It's something that I noted on the GV80 steering wheel for 2024 that they updated for 2025. We do have a large single pane glass roof up here, no pano roof, though you can see it is quite large all unto itself, and it opens up nice and wide. Another small complaint of mine is the dual stage switches that all Hyundai, Kia, Genesis products use for their roofs. You have to be very careful when opening it. If it's raining outside, something like that, that you don't accidentally open the glass when you just want to open the shade. But otherwise, we have a suede headliner, we get suede pillars, very nice appointments here in this G70, sorry. Another telltale update to 2024, this frameless mirror. Just small nips, tucks, and updates here to keep this relevant, nice, and applicable to its competition. But overall, very nice environment up here. Again, I put over 600 miles on this one since I've had it. It has been very comfortable every bit of the way. But I can live with all of that with the performance, appeal, and value of this vehicle. At under $60,000, I will quote one of our Tawa journalists, all this power, luxury, and performance for under 60K here in 2024? Genesis, shut up and take my money! Yes, even with those small nitpicks, the build quality being sub-Genesis build quality as far as what I've seen in the last slew of vehicles we've had for them, I still highly recommend this vehicle. It is very clearly bent more towards the performance end than luxury, but that doesn't mean it skimps on either. It is an absolute blast to drive, and I am literally going to weep when this thing leaves. Literally. I love it so much. It has been a blast to drive in all situations. Literally? We're gonna give it one last little. Yeah, buddy, let's go!